Welcome to Turning Back the Pages, the podcast where children's book authors discuss their favorite childhood books. I'm your host, Allie. Today, author Tate Godwin is joining me to discuss his favorite childhood book, Pig Will and Pig Won't, by Richard Scarry. Tate Godwin is a kids graphic novelist and illustrator living and drawing in North Carolina. He loves making stories about friendship, facing fears, and being true to oneself. His debut kids graphic novel, Operation Cover-Up, will be published by Andrews McMeel on January 21st, 2025. Welcome, Tate.
Hey, thanks for having me, Allie.
I'm glad you are here. So I have challenged Tate and myself to recap this book in 30 seconds. Tate, would you like to go first?
Sure.
Okay, I have 30 seconds on the clock. Ready, set, go.
So this is a book about two pig brothers. One's name is Pig Will and one's name is Pig Won't. Pig Will has a great attitude about everything and he goes along with things, and Pig Won't has a bad attitude. And Pig Will is rewarded for having a good attitude. Pig Won't is punished for having a bad attitude, and he suffers for it. But he has a change of heart at the end, and then he realizes the joys in being kind to others.
Oh, right there. That was awesome. Very good summary.
Thanks.
All right, I will go in 3, 2, 1. So Pig Will and Pig Won't are two brothers. Pig Will likes to help out. He goes on errands with Mother. He helps around the house, and Pig Won't will not do anything. He has a very bad attitude. One day they go outside and play. Pig Won't disobeys, and he ends up getting sick and has to miss the birthday party. And then Lily Worm comes in and brings him a cake that he doesn't deserve, and he changes his attitude. Woo.
Nice. Yeah, you got it.
All right. Okay, well, I have a little bit of a background on both Richard Scarry and just generally what he has written, and I have a little bit of a quiz if you want to be quizzed along the way.
Oh, I can try. I probably won't do very well.
It is okay. I pull obscure questions sometimes, so it is perfectly fine if you don't know this. I usually learn this about 2 days before we talk.
Okay.
Richard Scarry was born June 5th, 1919 in Boston, Massachusetts, and he was an American children's author and illustrator who published, can you guess how many books he published?
Gosh, I'll say 50.
227.
Wow.
So,
okay, wow, he's very prolific.
So Wikipedia had said over 300, but the only official number that I could find from publishers was 227, so I will give him that one. Many of his books are still in print. After high school, Scarry enrolled in Boston Business School. He dropped out in 1938. Then he studied at the School of the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, as well as other art schools, before being drafted into the Army in 1942. In the Army, Scarry was assigned to, do you know what military job he had?
Oh, gosh. No, I can't even guess.
So he first was assigned to the military's radio repair school, which seems out of left field. And then he had some success in this, but he ended up becoming the art director and received medical dispensation from strenuous physical activity. His bio at Penguin Random House said that he drew graphics and maps while in the Army, which kind of makes sense considering so many of his so many of his busy town illustrations include like the community maps, albeit cartoonish ones.
Oh, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, I thought that definitely carried on through his career. Scarry began his book career in 1949 as an illustrator of books by other people, such as Catherine and Brian Jackson's Mouse House. He also drew popular characters like Smokey the Bear, though he's not the originator. And he began writing his own books in 1955. Scarry met Patricia Patsy Murphy when they collaborated on a children's textbook, and they married in 1948. She is credited with writing some of the stories in subsequent children's books, such as Goodnight Little Bear, The Bunny Book, and The Fishing Cat. Richard Scarry passed away at his home in Switzerland in 1994. He was posthumously awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Society of Illustrators in 2012. Writer Daryl Owen said of Scary's work, "The fabric of Scary's world was woven with a strong sense of community and cooperation. His characters worked together, be it building a house or constructing a highway, and he endowed his characters with an honest humanity that underscores his tales. Scary knew children needed to know that they did not have to be perfect all the time. His tales are usually based in the ordinary every day, and he has a strong sense of good morals and manners and community." One of his stories that my oldest daughter has loved through the years is Polite Elephant. And Tate, you have chosen Pig Will and Pig Won't as your favorite childhood book. So tell me why. What made you choose this book?
Gosh, I think just remembering all the books I read as a kid, this is the one that I wanted to come back to the most. I think, I just really, really enjoyed it. I had a few favorites, but this stood out probably as the one that I liked the most. And I think I remember. I don't remember the first time I read it exactly, but I remember just laughing a lot because it is a funny book, and just the character expressions and everything are funny as well.
Yeah, I really liked the illustrations through this, and just the. I liked the ending a lot, that he didn't just have a bad attitude throughout, that he actually learns a lesson. And I grew up watching Busy Town, and so all the characters from this are in Busy Town as well. Did you grow up watching that?
No,
show?
I don't know if I've ever seen it actually.
It's all these characters, Lowly Worm, and it has a few others that are in some of his other books, but it has the cats and the bunnies, and all those characters appear and have very similar type adventures. So I had not read this one as a child, I don't believe, but very similar stories in Busy Town, the show. So how has reading this book changed through the years? Have you read it recently, or did you remember it correctly from when you were a child?
No, this was probably the first time I read it since I was a kid. But yeah, I didn't really remember much of the story at all. I really just remember the illustrations and thinking it was really funny. And reading it again, I enjoyed it. I was kind of, I felt bad for Pig Won't most of the time I was reading it, just because, he had a bad attitude, but he was also, seemed like he was having a hard time. But, I really thought it was touching the way that, Lowly Worm gets him the cake at the end, and that's what kind of changes his mind. So I thought that was a nice message too, that if you kind of show someone kindness like that, that can really change their heart. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Looking back on it, I still really like the illustrations, and I think just the characters' faces are just so they just look really alive, even though they're very simple, character designs and illustrations. He still manages to make them look really expressive and alive. Which is, it's so iconic, the characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they all do look very expressive, and they each have their own personality that you can just see in the illustration without having to read. You can tell which one is Pig Will and Pig Won't, just by looking at the family, and everything is very brightly drawn as well. I always liked Lowly Worm's apple car too.
Yeah.
I really liked the part at the end where Lowly Worm brings the cake. I thought that was just really nice, that manners are great, but kindness really can change the heart.
Yeah. That's what I got from it too. It was almost like another moral to the story. So I think obviously it's called Pig Will and Pig Won't, a book of manners. So obviously manners are a big part of it. But that kindness too is a big part of it as well.
Yeah. It stands out from the one that I just mentioned. Hold on. The Polite Elephant. It stands out from the Polite Elephant. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but my now 6-year-old loved that when she was a little bit younger, and we read it a lot. And it really is just basically how to be a human in the world. And it's a good book. Like we enjoy it. It's a good story. But this one does seem to have a little bit more of encouragement to be kind. And I really like that.
Yeah, no, I'm sure I've read that book. I can't recall exactly, but I probably read it.
Yeah, it's basically the elephant is, going over for a play date and going to someone else's house, and, he takes his shoes off, he washes his hands, he plays nicely, stuff like that. A really good one for an introductory to young children, to, how to go to somebody's house. We would always tell my oldest daughter, be the polite elephant, and she'd know what that meant.
Yeah.
I know you said you read this a lot as a child, but do you remember what themes stood out to you as a child, and why do you think those themes stood out to you?
Yeah, probably just the theme of being rewarded for having good manners, I guess, and because Pig Will, like you said, he's so agreeable, and he'll go along with what his parents ask him to do. And like when his mom asks them to go to the grocery store, Pig Will jumps in the car, and then he gets to, I think, ride a ride at the grocery store, and he gets his mom gets some cake and stuff. So
yeah, I think he gets to ride the horse and the little airplane. Like he's having a blast at this grocery store.
Yeah, he has a lot of fun, and I think Pig Will is just kind of pouting at home. So
yeah.
That you definitely, I think as a young kid, you get to see kind of how differently their day goes, because, especially when you're young, you think, or, you don't have foresight like that to think of, what good could come from doing something you don't really want to do. So, so I thought that's probably what stuck out to me most as a kid.
Turning Back the Pages is sponsored by bookshop.org. Okay, no, not really, but let's talk about bookshop.org. Bookshop.org works to connect readers with independent booksellers all over the world. Every purchase on the site financially supports independent bookstores. I've chosen my local independent bookstore, Thank You Books, for when I purchase a book from bookshop.org. And Turning Back the Pages has its own shop. All the books discussed on the show can be found on the show list at the store. To find out more, you can click on the link in the show notes. Or, if you wanted to do it the hard way, Google bookshop.org and search for Turning Back the Pages under the shop search on the website. Happy shopping, happy reading. Who is your favorite character in the book?
Gosh, probably Lowly Worm.
Yeah, same.
He's just so he's so unique, even among all the characters, and all the characters look unique. It's so interesting how he does these really simple cartoony illustrations of these characters, and none of them actually have eyebrows, which is something I noticed. I don't think I noticed this when I was a kid, but as an adult, kind of, and looking at how other people draw cartoons and use this style, his characters don't have these little lines, but they still look really alive. So I thought that was just another interesting thing.
Yeah, that is so interesting. I'm going through, and I don't think I realized that, but they don't, and it's so funny because so much expression is expressed in the eyebrows, and none of them do.
Yeah, he still has body language and all of that, though. And
yeah, so I'm just getting distracted looking at all these illustrations again. Yes, I also really, I know I've said it several times, the Lowly Worm was my favorite character, I think, in the show and also in this book. Were you an avid reader as a child?
Yeah, I was. I always liked reading, especially, when I was really little. I liked having stuff read to me more than I liked reading, I think. But as I got older, I think started to enjoy reading more, especially I never stopped liking illustrations. Even when I got into novels and stuff like that, it was always great to see illustrations. So.
Yes. So, are there any other books that the illustrations really stand out to you outside of Richard Scarry?
Oh yeah, sure. Gosh, there are tons. In terms of children's books, like picture books, I remember the Max and Ruby series
Mm-hmm.
was one I really liked, and all I think I went through every Dr. Seuss book, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there were a lot, and there's another favorite was Sylvester and the Magic Pebble, which I love. So
I don't think I recall that one. All those illustrations are really good. I think that is something that I tend to miss as I'm reading to my children because I'm reading the words, and that's both my girls will describe a book to me by the illustrations. Like on the second page, there's such and such, and so I think illustrations just add so much to a book. It's more than just the words, and you illustrated. I mean, your book is a graphic novel, correct?
yes, mm-hmm.
So you wrote and illustrated it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. That's very cool. Would little Tate be surprised you wrote and illustrated a book?
I don't think so. Really, I loved writing and drawing when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Probably as much as I loved reading. So,
Did you
um,
write books as a kid, like little pretend books or comic books or
yeah,
anything?
I did. Yeah, little. Yeah, I would draw little comic books and stuff like that. Yeah.
What type of books did you draw and illustrate or write and illustrate as a child? Do you remember?
Yeah. They were mostly, I think, a lot of superheroes.
Uh
When I
huh.
found out about superheroes, I loved that, and yeah, just I think it was just whatever I was into. I would just kind of copy that. So when I was superheroes, I would draw superhero stuff, and when I would get into manga later, I would kind of
Mm-hmm.
copy that style too. And so yeah, I was just definitely wearing my influences on my sleeve, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's really cool. I always wrote books as a child as well. So tell me about your book. This is your first book, is that correct?
Yes,
And
yes, it
so
is.
what made you write it and tell me about it?
Yeah, so I guess what made me write it was just kind of imagining what kind of book I would have wanted as
Mm-hmm.
a kid. It's for ages 7 to 11, so
Mm-hmm.
um, that's kind of the age that I was thinking about, and I'll just kind of give you the brief
Yeah.
pitch that, or the brief synopsis that I really liked that the publisher wrote. So it's called Operation Cover Up, and it's about a class clown and a brainiac. They cook up the ultimate operation when they swap identities at their elementary school in this laugh out loud, funny graphic novel. So it's a graphic novel, meaning it's kind of structured like a comic book with panels
Mm-hmm.
and speech bubbles. It's almost 200 pages, so it's pretty
Oh
long.
wow.
And yeah, it's about these two kids, these two fifth graders that one's a straight A student, the other one's a class clown, and they kind of swap identities. And
Uh-huh.
so it's a lot of humor and yeah, some twists and turns. And yeah, I really hope kids enjoy it.
Yeah, that sounds like a really great book. When I was going through all the books that are coming out soon, that it really stood out to me of a book that I would have loved to read as a child. What inspired your story? Or
Oh
did it come
gosh.
from just imagination or
Yeah, no, I think, I think probably changing schools. I
hmm
changed schools a few times, so maybe
yeah.
that was the inspiration because both of these main characters are starting at this new school at the same time,
hmm
and just remembering that experience, just trying to fit in, and
hmm
Yeah. I think that's when you're a kid, school and your social life is really your life. So,
Right.
yeah. But I think even when you don't change schools and you're just transitioning to like middle school or something, it's a lot of changes. So,
Right, right. I did that as well. I changed schools 2 or 3 times, and there is a lot of transition in that, and it is a lot about identity and who you are and all that stuff. And it sounds like your book might touch on that.
yeah. That's probably the biggest theme. So,
Who do you hope reads it? I know you gave an age range, but who do you see reading and enjoying your book?
oh gosh, yeah, the kids 7 to 11 is the target age. Yeah, but even kids that are older or younger, I would hope could get something out of it. And yeah, just any kid that maybe is struggling kind of to find out where they belong. And I guess I would hope they would get a lot out of it
Hmm.
potentially. And yeah, just kids that love graphic novels, I think too would really like it. Yeah, I think. And yeah, I think a lot of kids would find something to relate to in these characters, even if like they haven't changed schools. I think there's still we all kind of feel sometimes like we don't fit in,
Right.
even if we've been in the same place for a while. So
Right. Yeah, and I love the way that graphic novels can introduce a new element than just reading a chapter book. We have just introduced graphic novels to my 6-year-old, and
oh, very cool. Yeah.
she has enjoyed them. And right now we're not reading a graphic novel right now, but it kind of goes back and forth between illustrated like a graphic novel or like a comic book, and then goes back to the narrative. And it's interesting, and it has kept her attention. We're 170 pages in, and it's kept her attention, which is I think the longest one that we have read. And so
Oh, very cool.
illustrations just do a lot, like as a avid reader of kids books for myself and with my children. I'm really excited about reading more graphic novels, including yours.
Oh, thanks. Does she have a favorite yet of graphic novels?
Not yet. She read one about a cat recently. I can't remember what it was called. I cannot remember what it was called, but the librarian picked it out for her. My daughter's very into cats right now, so and we can't have one because I'm very allergic. So,
Oh,
she
yeah.
anything she can pick up about cats, but it was like a super kitty or something like that. So,
Mhm.
she's just on the cusp of reading very basic things for herself. So her dad and I are still having to read everything to her. So I think he read the majority of
Sure.
that one, but she really was wanting to go back into the graphic novel section of our library and pick something new out pretty soon because she loves looking at the pictures for herself.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. No, I didn't even mention that all the characters in my book are animals. So,
Oh,
uh,
okay, yeah.
um,
I think I had read that and totally forgotten about that.
yeah.
That's
So one of
no.
them's a cat and the other one's a rabbit. So that may be she may like that.
She would that would definitely catch her attention. We are very 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 into cats right now. Well, share where people can follow you or buy your book or anything else that you would like to share with the audience.
Sure. Yeah. So tatecartoons.com, all one word, TATE cartoons is my website, and that has all my social media stuff and more information about my book and everything like that. So tatecartoons.com is really my place.
Great. Well, thank you for joining me for this episode of Turning Back the Pages. To the audience, if you have any author suggestions, please feel free to email me at whatallywrites@gmail.com. You can follow the show on Instagram or Twitter at whatallywrites. Ally is ALLY. And don't forget to subscribe.